I think that there was an accidental study done on the placebo effect when they were testing drugs, and they were like, okay, the one group we're going to give sugar pills, and then the other group will give the drug, and we'll see where the effects are, you know? And that's obvious to everybody. Okay, yeah, the sugar pill group's going to have no effects because the drug acts on the body in this way, da, 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 da. And then when they got the results back, they were like, oh my gosh, what? How did the placebo group get effects? What's going on here? What the heck? That accidental discovery of the placebo effect should have been like a clue, like a red flag clue. It seems like it would, like that was a red flag clue to me immediately when I heard that. I was like, whoa, that's like, I don't know, it's interesting. It says something about the conscious experience, the God realm, our religion, everything. Like it says something. I think some people are scared of it. But the fact is, it exists. And so when people say, I don't go to the doctor because the doctor makes me sick, don't think, oh, you redneck bum from the Boondocks, what are you talking about? You know, your instant judgment, it's like, oh, it's because the placebo effect. Like, people who go to the doctor a lot, you know, get sick a lot. I don't know, it just, and it's like, well, they go to the doctor because they're sick. Yes, there's some of that. I just don't think, I think it's more common, well, it's at least somewhat common that you kind of make yourself sick on some level, the same way you'd make yourself healthy. I mean, on some level, the placebo effect is happening all the time to us, not just in the study. It didn't just go away when they stopped looking at it. It's happening to us all the time. Like, it is the human condition. I think that's what people don't take from that and realize is the placebo effect is the human condition. The placebo effect, if you think about my body as a machine, it is the placebo, the placebo effect is happening to it right now in this exact present moment. What are you telling your body about what's going on with it? Are you telling it it's old? Are you telling it it's worn out? Are you telling it it can't move? It can't do anything but lay here on this couch? What are you telling your body, you know? What kind of messages do you give your body? And so some of it's like unavoidable, right? We can't live forever, or could we? I think some people take it to the extreme and say it's all the placebo effect. Literally, we could just live forever if we just thought we could. You know, if we had a faith the size of a speck of a mustard seed, we could move mountains. You know, we could do anything. Like, thy faith hath made thee whole. It could go as far as you want. He raised Lazarus from the dead, you know, with the placebo effect potentially. I don't know, something like that. So we're like, oh my gosh, do we have to die? And then we look around though and we're like, but that's the cycle though. This is a cycle of life though. Do we dare muck around with that realm? And do we do it with AI? Maybe we do it with machines. You know, I know everybody's thinking that on some level. At least it's in society. It's being thought about societally because we see it on TV and stuff, you know. It's a thing. It's common. I think most people know about it. They think maybe how to have eternal life. I think people have been thinking about that for a long time. I think it's been on everybody's mind pretty much since the beginning, since the first time we thought, like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. What's death going to be like? Okay, so that one dies, we all die, and like, then what? And when Eve partook of one of the fruits of the Garden of Eden, God said, don't eat from that tree. The tree of life? Don't eat from that branch of animals? Meat? Maybe this is like, the vegetarians are right. Oh no. She partake of that fruit, meat, and understood good and evil. Maybe understood what would good and evil then be? And because it talks about evil all the time in the Bible, all the time evil's talked about as just death. The evil day is described as the day you die. A lot. There's a few references I could think about it, but basically think of that one as evidence that I've seen it before at least once. I think I've seen it 2, 3, maybe 4 or 5 times, and there's probably more because I haven't really read the Bible a whole lot. I've just kind of keep note of how many times I've seen these things, sometimes in a pattern. I don't know. It's just like, it's something to note that there is one definition of evil is the day you die, or like death, because people have been hating that stuff forever. Like, think about it. That would be a thing you would think about at some point. You're just going along as an animal, just not caring, just not even noticing at all that your death is creeping steadily closer. You're just trying to avoid obstacles and like eat. And then one day you realize that, you start to worry. But did she eat meat and then it caused that understanding in her? Is that the understanding the knowledge of good and evil? Understanding right from wrong actions, right? Because of the original evil, death, trying to avoid that. So we're going to do all these things and that will avoid this. Blood, let's avoid that one. That one is a big thing to avoid. To the extreme max. They knew something was up with the blood, just the little things in the culture. Even like, don't sit on the same chair as a menstruating woman, or if you do, you need to go wash in the river in a natural body of water. You can't be doing it in a bucket at home. That's going to contaminate things. You've got to go wash in a natural body of water and then you will be clean. Because there is a concern about germs. I don't know. It's interesting because they were concerned about that stuff. Because death, the evil, trying to avoid it. So Eve ate something in the Garden of Eden, some kind of fruit of some kind of tree. It was the fruit of the meat tree. Like, the animals are a tree. Like, think of it, the tree of life. Like, if you think of the tree of life, if you ever go to the Creation Museum, there's like these branches of the tree of life, animals, plants, I think that's at least was when I was a kid in school. Animals went this way, plants, bacteria, I don't know. And then we just branched off from there. It looks like a tree. It's branching. It's evolution even. So calm down, scientists. Jeez. Am I brainwashed, though, to be believing in both things at the same time could be real? Like a cognitive dissonance. How crazy. But let's see if we can match it. Let's see if it matches. Hear my words. See if it matches. If there's some other thing, though, tell me. I don't know. Discredit it. Debate it. It's fun. Okay. So she ate a fruit of a tree that said not to do, don't do that thing. That's going to corrupt the whole system. Like, it's working out. It's working good. Everything's working and there's peace and harmony. Don't you realize the best thing you want is peace and harmony? Do you not realize this? You are an idiot, dumb, infant creature here. Peace and harmony is the thing. Peace and harmony is the thing to do. Don't start the meat eating cycle because that will create a lot of disharmony on the planet. What did she do? She plucked down, reached up, and ate fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And that is when evil entered the Garden of Eden, all the death and dying, I think things probably still died, though. It's part of like the natural life. But I think it would be peaceful. Right? We'll just think about it. If there wasn't any meat eaters, there were mammals though that eat plants. Like, that exists. And the cows. Well, I'm made out of meat, so I need to eat meat. No. I mean, the original meat eaters ate plants. The original creatures. Anyway. But maybe even eating the plant brother. Maybe the original peaceful garden was just the plants. living in plant-like luxury. So some stomping people came along and stomping on all the plants. But before that, the plants were trying to stomp on each other. They just got a way to move around. I'm going to get one over on these other ones. I'm trying to get better than them. Maybe the struggle for dominance has been there since the beginning. We're not the ones who invented sin. We're not the most sinful, wicked creature. But maybe we are a type of creature that understands the difference between good and evil. Like, we have an opportunity to choose a good action or a bad action. We define that as a good action, meaning tending toward life, and a bad action, meaning tending toward death. Evil being toward death. Life, death, right? Do our actions tend toward life, or do our actions tend toward death? When I hit my neighbor in the face with my fist, is that more likely going to lead to an action toward life or death? And I think we can objectively say violence is an action that tends toward death. If you follow violence to its final course, like if you were to follow it through, if you continue to do that, and if she reflected back on you your action and it continued on that way, what would be the logical end? Death for somebody or both, you know? And so then you could continue actions on to their logical conclusions as if it maybe like a mirror, like when you go in the temple and there's like the mirrors everybody knows about because we have the temple walkthroughs that you don't have to recommend to see the mirrors. So there was a mirror situation that like reflects back and back and back and back, back forever, but then you're in the way because you can't really see into infinity because you're in the way. You know, but then it's like if you reflected your action back and back and back and back forever, does your action tend toward life or does it tend toward death? And that, I think, is how we can decide if an action is good or bad, right? The good actions in the Bible tending toward life, the bad actions tending toward death. So like when you're like, oh, the Bible's all made up and delusional and boring and dumb, it's like, well, it's just a practical like lifestyle that makes things better, but how should it be enforced? Because it's also the action, force and control tend toward death. I would say every time. If you mirrored force and control back and forth on itself, it tends toward death, I would say. And death for who? It's just death for humans, but like, because that's who we care about. But I think we need to also care about the others. Once we've achieved this high level of understanding, yay, hooray, we become like gods. We become like a cultivator of the garden, or maybe we already had that. I don't know. But somehow we have an understanding of how, like, the stewardship we have, like, the responsibility we have over the creatures that we're, like, cultivating and caring for. And, like, that can make a peaceful thing, too. Like, human stewards cultivating the garden makes for a peaceful experience as well. So if you just try to be a steward of your land and just cultivate nicely and like in harmony with the creatures, that could be a harmonious life. We're commanded in Ecclesiastes to live peaceful and harmoniously on the land. That's a theme, peace. And if you think peace, if you mirror that back a million times, it's going to be peace again. It's going to be more peace, better peace. It's just going to be peace forever. Like it's going to be the best. That's going to be the best plan. You know, we should seek toward the best plan, you know, and hope our actions are aligning with the best plan, which is peace. And truth is part of that concept. Truth and transparency and actions and thought and deed. It's part of that concept. And my yoke is easy, my burden is light, because peace, the burdens and things done in peace, they don't feel like burdens anymore. They feel like family and connection and love and gardening, you know. So if you believe in the Bible and you interpret it that way and you say maybe through the placebo effect, you know, with all the other clues about consciousness affecting reality, like with Jesus doing stuff like healing and stuff, if you believe in that stuff and then you believe that You know, like, I don't know. If you believe that the way of the tree of eternal life was guarded by a flaming sword, and is this other tree, is it another branch of like living beings, you know, living organisms? I don't know. Or is it an actual path or a way? And then you believe